When I glanced at my phone, I saw 13 missed calls, all from my mother-in-law, Denise. Not again. Just as I was processing that, the phone buzzed in my hand once more. I picked up. Hello. Denise's voice was sharp and irritated. Excuse me, wasn't this month's allowance supposed to be $3,000? It's late. Before I could even respond, she continued her rant, completely ignoring anything I might be dealing with. I told you already, the money for this month hasn't come in yet. It was always like this with her, self-absorbed, demanding, and never once pausing to consider anyone else's situation. I was done playing nice. Even now, she didn't stop to think before speaking. I took a breath, steadied my voice, and said what I had no choice but to say. Denise, your son is gone. He passed away. I can't keep sending the allowance anymore. Let me rewind. My name's Rachel Carter. I'm 32, juggling a fast-paced job at a top investment firm while also managing a household. I married my late husband, Alex, about 2 years ago. We met through a hiking club, and I was drawn to him right away. That gentle spirit and his warm, easy smile. We dated for a year before deciding to tie the knot. We both believed we'd found the perfect match in each other. Life together was mostly peaceful, and we rarely had serious arguments. Everything felt easy, that is, until Denise entered the picture. Alex's father had passed away a few years before, which left Denise as his only close family. And the trouble started the very first time I met her. Pleasure to meet you, I said politely when we visited her before the wedding. She looked me over, clearly unimpressed. So, you're Alex's girlfriend? I'm Denise Walker. Huh. You're rather plain. I don't get what Alex sees in you. I couldn't tell if she was being sarcastic or just plain rude. Either way, hearing something like that from the mother of the man I loved stunned me. Alex's expression darkened, and he snapped at her. Mom, what the heck? Why would you say something like that to Rachel? I'm just trying to find a suitable woman for you. I'm the one who chose her, not you. You don't get to decide. No need to be so cold about it. I'm just saying what I think because I care about you. If you actually cared, you'd support us. Why is that so hard for you to understand? The argument between Alex and his mom played out right in front of me, making the atmosphere unbearably tense. It was my first time meeting her, so I just kept quiet, unsure of what to say. Despite that rocky start, we did eventually let her know we planned to get married. As we were heading out, she called after Alex with a sour look on her face. Alex, can I talk to you for a second? About what? You're still going to keep that promise once you're married, right? What promise? The allowance, remember? Oh, right. Yeah, I'll handle it. But can we not talk about this now? I was just asking, she mumbled. There was a thick cloud of tension between them, and it didn't lift even after we left. On the drive back, I turned to Alex, needing answers. Hey, what was that about? That talk with your mom. He looked a little guilty. I probably should have told you earlier, Rachel. Ever since my dad passed, I've been sending money to my mom every month. How much are we talking here? $2,000. What? $2,000? Every single month. I couldn't keep my voice down. He let out a long sigh and explained, she's in debt. Lost a ton of money years ago gambling at a casino, and she's still paying it off. Her health's not great now either, so she stays home a lot. But she still needs to live, you know. I get that, but isn't $2,000 a bit much? I've tried lowering it, but she just keeps calling and calling. No matter what, she's still my mom. I worry about her being all alone. I could see how deeply Alex cared about her. It made sense. With his dad gone, Denise was the only family he had left. And while her personality left a lot to be desired, she was still his mother. Back then, all I saw was the kindness in my husband's heart. A few months after our wedding, I was in the middle of my lunch break at work when my phone rang. The screen lit up with a familiar name, Denise. I hesitated, then picked up. Hi, Denise. Her voice was chipper, way too upbeat for what was coming. Rachel. It's been a while, huh? Do you have a moment to talk? Sure. What's going on? Well, I was wondering if you could start sending me some money. Excuse me. I was so caught off guard, I didn't know what to say. But Denise didn't pause, she just kept going, sounding thrilled with herself. You mentioned before that you work at a finance firm, right? That must mean you're bringing in a solid paycheck. Not exactly. Oh, please. Don't lie just to avoid helping me out. That's not what I'm trying to do. Then what is it? I tried to keep my voice calm. But Denise, aren't you already getting financial help from Alex? She shot back without hesitation. So what? I took a breath and finally said what I'd been holding in. Denise, $2,000 a month is a lot. And now you're asking for more? You really think so, she replied, almost like I was being dramatic. If you could just chip in an extra $1,000, it would keep me from putting pressure on Alex. What exactly do you mean by that? Well, I've listed him as the guarantor on some of my loans. If I default, the collectors will come after him. You get what I'm saying, right? But aren't you already using part of what Alex gives you to pay off those debts? I'm still short. I haven't told him, but I owe a lot more than he knows. The way she said it, so matter-of-fact, made it clear even her late husband probably never knew the full extent. And with Alex and I planning to start a family soon, I knew our own expenses were about to spike. Taking on someone else's massive debt wasn't something I ever imagined doing, but if she missed her payments and the collectors came after Alex, the interest alone could spiral out of control. I hated that I even had to think about it, but the truth was clear. Letting her dig a deeper hole would eventually come back to hurt him. Reluctantly, I gave in. Fine. I'll help cover it. Oh, Rachel. I knew you'd understand. With your help, that brings the total to $3,000. That'll be enough to clear my debts, right? You're sure you'll be able to pay everything off? Yes, definitely. I should be debt-free in about a year. You promise? You'll use this to clear it all. Yes, I got it. I'll expect the money starting this month. And with that, she hung up. I slumped back in my chair, the stress of work now compounded by this new weight. An extra $1,000 every month. That was going to sting. But I told myself it was for the greater good. If Denise became completely dependent on us, it would only create more problems later on. And Alex loved his mom. If she were struggling, it would break him. That night, I told Alex everything. You didn't have to agree to that, he said softly. You really didn't. But I'd already made up my mind, and I told him it was for our future, for both of us. He looked at me with a pained expression and thanked me, quietly grateful but clearly ashamed that I had to get involved. Time moved on. A whole 2 years, in fact. The help we thought would only last 12 months kept going. Every month, we were still sending Denise $3,000. Then, 2 months ago, things took a turn. Alex fell seriously ill and had to stop working. He's been on medical leave ever since, relying on disability benefits, which don't come close to what he used to earn. Last month, I managed to scrape together $3,000 from my savings and send it to Denise. But if this keeps up, we're going to run out of options fast. And then, as if things weren't already spiraling, Denise hadn't come to see her son. Not once. Even after I told her Alex was in the hospital, she didn't show. All she did was message or call to ask the same question. You're still sending the money, right? That was it. No, how is he? No concern. Just that. I was furious. I turned to Alex, who was resting on the couch, looking worn down. Alex, come on. Isn't it insane that your mom only seems to care about the money even now? We've got to seriously talk about what we're going to do from here. He rubbed his eyes and sighed. I know. I've been thinking the same thing. I hate seeing this pressure fall on you, Rachel. Even this month, she won't stop calling or texting me about the money. Can you believe that? She hasn't once asked how I'm doing. His voice cracked with frustration, and I could see how much this was eating at him. Then, suddenly, a strange grin tugged at the corner of his lips. I have an idea. What kind of idea? I asked cautiously. It's a last resort. Something a little out there. But it might be the only way to make her finally get it. And with that, he laid out a plan so unexpected I couldn't believe I was even considering it. Maybe it was bold, maybe even a little cruel, but it seemed like our only shot at waking Denise up to the damage she was doing. A few weeks later, Alex was released from the hospital. We didn't tell Denise. She'd never responded to our texts anyway, so we figured she didn't need to know. In those 2 weeks, she'd still been relentless, texting and calling like clockwork, always about the money. We were sitting in the kitchen sipping tea when my phone buzzed. I checked and saw the notification, 13 missed calls. All from Denise. Another call came through right away. I looked at Alex and put the phone on speaker. "Hello." I answered. Right away, Denise started yelling, "Where's the $3,000 for this month?" "Excuse me," I said, trying to stay calm. "You heard me. The payment still hasn't come through. What's the holdup?" I started to speak. "Denise, Alex is. I don't care if he's sick or in the hospital." "That's not my problem," she barked. "You've got a decent job, right? You must have savings. So hurry up and send it over." I was stunned. Her voice just kept getting louder, angrier. "Listen to me," she went on. "You married Alex, so if he can't pay, then you have to. And if you don't, I'll make you the guarantor." Got it? Something inside me broke right then. She was so absorbed in her demands, she didn't even notice what we were going through. That was it. I had reached the end of my rope. My voice was steady as I delivered the line we had agreed on. "Denise, Alex passed away. I won't be sending you any more money." There was a long pause. Then, confused, she blurted out, "What?" It was part of the plan Alex came up with to tell Denise he had died and see what she did. If she reacted with grief or any hint of self-reflection, we might reconsider. But if all she cared about was the money, we'd cut her off for good. A part of me still hoped she'd show something. Some spark of human emotion. After all, this was her son. Instead, she laughed, loud and giddy, like she'd just won the lottery. What's funny?" I asked, completely thrown. "Well, duh," she said, like I should have already figured it out. "If Alex is dead, then I get part of his inheritance." "Excuse me." "I looked into it when I found out he was sick," she went on, proudly. "2/3 of his assets go to you, but 1/3 is legally mine." I sat there, speechless. She hadn't researched treatments. She hadn't asked about his condition. But she had done her homework on inheritance laws. My anger turned into something deeper, something heavier. Disgust. Shock. Pure disbelief. I glanced at Alex. His expression mirrored mine. He gave me a small nod. That was the signal. It was time to end this. I brought the phone back to my lips. "Denise, did you even hear what I said? Your son is gone. Alex died." There was a pause. Then she said, "So what? What do you expect me to do? Cry?" Her last words before hanging up echoed in my mind. "Make sure you send me what's mine. I won't let you off the hook." Click. The call ended with a flat dial tone. I sat there stunned, staring at the phone in disbelief. When I looked over at Alex, his hands were trembling. His face was twisted with emotion, not pain, not sadness, but rage. "Alex, are you okay?" I asked softly. He met my gaze, eyes burning with something final. "I'm done," he said. "I'm cutting ties. She'll probably come here, screaming for money. Let's wait it out." "Are you sure?" I asked gently. "You're really okay with ending things like this?" "I've never been more sure of anything," he replied without hesitation. "After that call?" "She's no mother of mine." I nodded slowly. I felt the same. No mother should care more about money than her own child's life. A few days later, just as we predicted, Denise showed up at our door. Alex stayed in the next room while I answered it alone. She stormed up to me with a face like thunder. "Hand over Alex's inheritance," she snapped. "Now, you have the nerve to say that?" I shot back. "You never even came to visit him." "Ugh, spare me the lecture. He's already dead." "What's the point of dragging this out?" she said, waving her hand like I was wasting her time. I'm fine getting a lawyer involved if that's what it takes. I clenched my fists. But before I could say another word, Alex stepped out from the hallway. Denise froze in place. Her eyes went wide like she'd just seen a ghost. Hey, Alex? What? You're alive. Long time no see, Mom, Alex said, his voice cold. Yeah, I'm alive. The whole thing was a lie. A lie. How dare you? I wanted to see who you really were, he replied calmly. I wanted to know what you'd do if I was gone. Turns out, all you cared about was my money. That's not true. How could you call your own mother a gold digger? Alex didn't flinch. Because that's exactly what you are. Her mouth opened and closed, stunned by the force of his words. I'm done, he continued. I don't want anything more to do with you. You're not my mother anymore. You don't mean that, she cried. But what about the allowance? My living expenses? You'll have to figure that out on your own, he said, pulling away as she reached for him. We supported you for years, and you never once said thank you. Not even when I was sick. Tears filled her eyes. Please, don't do this. I've got nothing without you. Alex stared at her with a mix of pity and resolve. You should have thought about that before you gambled away every cent and treated us like a paycheck. Without another word, he led her to the front door. He tossed her shoes and bag outside and closed the door behind her. She made a scene out on the street for a bit, yelling and sobbing. But when the neighbors started watching from their windows, she finally left. We blocked her number and changed addresses. We were done. As for the debts? She had put Alex down as a co-signer without his consent, so legally he wasn't responsible. Thankfully, we were able to prove that and have it overturned. Without our support, Denise struggled. And from what we heard later, she had never used the money to pay her debts. She'd been gambling with it all along. The collectors eventually caught up with her. Now, she works long shifts at multiple jobs just to stay afloat. It's a hard life, but one she built with her own choices. As for us, we finally got a fresh start. Our new home was peaceful and Alex's health improved steadily. Then one day, we got news that changed everything. I was pregnant, a whole new life growing inside me, a life filled with hope, love, and a future untouched by the darkness of the past. We're finally moving forward. And this time, we're choosing joy. A family of 3. A new beginning. And no regrets.